Hello, this is Dr. Richard Gerhauser, and today I would like to discuss an important part of the Natural Foods Diet weight loss program that I recommend for my patients that need to lose weight. Now, the typical American breakfast is a scam, and it's perpetuated by the industrial food conglomerates. So what is a typical American breakfast? Now, if I go to the continental breakfast at a typical low-price hotel, I will find bagels, there'll be a bin full of cereal, there'll be a jug of skim or 2% low-fat milk, there'll be a tray of blueberry and bran muffins, there'll be a container with non-fat yogurt, there'll be tons of loaves of bread for toast, and then of course there'll be the requisite orange or apple juice, and maybe they'll even have an apple or an orange. Now, this breakfast is sure to cause obesity and will lead you down a path toward chronic diseases and an early grave. Now, take note that all of these foods are refined foods and they're high in refined carbohydrates. Now, the higher price hotels might also have a tub of overcooked scrambled eggs with some shreds of bacon or sausage on the side. There may even be a waffle maker where you can try to figure out how to make your own waffle. Now let me tell you, it's the propaganda issued by the food giants that has led to this being the typical American breakfast. Now let me tell you what's wrong with this breakfast, especially if you're trying to lose weight or especially if you're overweight. Now first, it's too high in carbohydrates, and these carbohydrates are low in nutritional value. They also stimulate the excess of insulin production, which tells your body to store fat. An hour after eating this crap, your insulin levels will drop, and you'll feel fatigued, and you'll crave more carbs. Now, if instead you eat a high-protein breakfast, you'll be stimulating your metabolism, and you'll be burning many more calories. There won't be a spike in your insulin so that you don't have the mid-morning low blood sugar slump. Now, high protein breakfast can raise your metabolism as much as 30%, and that's for up to 12 hours. Now, this can be a big factor that can help you lose weight without dieting or without needing to reduce your calories at all. Now, let's take that typical American breakfast one item at a time. Okay, first, orange juice. We all know that's healthy, right? Well, first off, it's pure sugar, not something we want to have for breakfast. The orange juice in the hotel is highly processed. It's been pasteurized and it may have been stored for up to a year. Now, this processing removes all of the flavor. Well, that's no problem for the big food companies. They add a flavor pack. That's a pack of chemicals made by the same companies that make perfume, and it artificially makes it taste like an orange. Now, we think of our oranges as coming from Florida or California, but Brazil sells them cheaper, but the Brazilian ones have more pesticide residues, which probably isn't good. So let's look at bagels. Entirely processed carbohydrates. I try to get my patients off of commercial bakery products. The grain is treated with pesticides and herbicides in the field. It's harvested incorrectly, so it'll contain natural enzyme inhibitors and other anti-nutrients. It's stored after they spray it again with chemicals to keep out the pests. The starch is then separated from the nutrient part of the grain, and they do spray in some synthetic vitamin and minerals to compensate. It's then milled at a very high temperature that denatures the proteins to make them more allergenic. Then it is baked, commonly with bromine added, and this bromine can play havoc with our thyroid gland and also with our metabolism. Now, products from the grain need to be whole grain. They should be soaked or sprouted. And even then, you should have a limited amount for breakfast if you're trying to lose weight. Now let's talk about the low-fat dairy products, such as the 2% milk or the non-fat yogurt that they have at the counter. These are agribusiness food scams. When you go into a grocery store, it's almost impossible to find a full-fat yogurt. But that's what you should be eating if you want to maintain your weight. Low-fat dairy, including milk, is a carb-laden junk food. We've been brainwashed by the government and nutrition experts who have been bought off by the food industry in the name of profits. The giant dairy corporations have doubled their profits by convincing us that we need low-fat dairy. The natural fats in dairy are a wonderful nutrient that we want more of, not less. The components of dairy fat, such as conjugated linoleic acid, has been shown to improve insulin resistance, which can in turn dramatically help with your weight loss. This CLA has many other benefits as well, such as improving resistance to infectious diseases and reducing the incidence of cancer. The fat in dairy is a great source for the fat-soluble vitamins that are sorely missing from the processed foods. This includes vitamin A and also vitamin K2. Now, I probably don't have to tell you about the problem with the blueberry muffin. We have flour again that has the same problems as the bagel has. Then they add a ton of sugar or other sweeteners like high fructose corn syrup, which is pure concentrated carbs, and it will create a large insulin spike, just like the orange juice that you chase it with does. Now, add in some rancid, genetically modified, highly processed canola oil or cottonseed oil or soybean oil, and you have the perfect poison to destroy your health and to send you down the road to obesity. Now, how about the fruit? The apple or the banana? Well, a little bit of fruit is fine, and it's better if it's organic. But it's very important to have a quality protein in addition. Now let's take on the cereal, probably the biggest scam of all perpetuated by the food companies. I would venture to say that this one product has probably led to the early death and disease of untold millions of people. It's full of sugar, and the sugar is disguised by multiple titles. They call it maltose, dextrose, high fructose corn syrup, sugar, molasses, honey, agave extract, cane juice, barley malt, and guess what? They have 30 other names that they try to confuse us with. Now, cereal contains the same carb-loaded toxic grain that we talked about with the bagel. Now, let's talk about the extrusion process, where the flake or puff is made. This is where the grain paste is exposed to high temperature and pressure so that it denatures the protein, making them potentially toxic. Unpublished animal studies have shown that these cereals are more toxic than starvation. To top it off, they might throw in a little canola oil or hydrogenated soybean oil, and then soy protein isolate, the ultimate junk food. And this will ensure that no one survives this toxic blend. How about having some whole oats with fresh raw butter and a dash of raw honey? Just be sure to soak the oats overnight. This speeds the cooking process and naturally reduces the anti-nutrients that are contained in all seeds and nuts. Now, what about that appetizing vat of scrambled eggs? Well, yes, it's better than nothing, but if you can avoid the breakfast bar altogether, you'll be better off. My favorite item when traveling is to make a smoothie with a quality organic whey protein powder or raw eggs from pastured chickens. Now, I mix this with a full-fat dairy product like kefir, yogurt, or raw whole milk. And I also add in some fruit. Now, the problem with cooking everything is that it puts tremendous stress on your digestive function, especially as we age, or especially if we have diseases. Now, I have patients that will only consume cooked food. For them, I recommend supplementing meals with active digestive enzymes. They may not get all the benefits as if eating raw foods, but it's better than nothing. For the rest of us, a little can go a long way. A simple step can be adding raw dairy or a fermented beverage like kombucha tea to your diet. Raw eggs and raw meats can be added. Sushi, anyone? Raw fruit and vegetables, of course, are always available and another source of living enzymes and other heat-sensitive nutrients. Now, these raw foods also help to diversify our microbiome, which is very important for health. Well, it's been great talking to you today, and I would appreciate any comments or questions that you have. Just post them below. Please subscribe to my Natural Foods Diet YouTube channel to get more updates on how you can improve your health through natural foods.